Hi guys! Today I'm going to show you how to sew one of these skirts. Lots of layers, squares as you can see. Pretty fun. If you want to know how I did this one, stick around for my tutorial. Okay, the thing that took the longest here was cutting all of these damn pieces out, so I did that off camera. These are the pieces for the bottom layer. That's for the middle layer, for the top layer, and for the waist piece. Now the reason there are two kinds of fabric for the bottom layer and for the waist piece is because for the waist piece I just don't want it to be transparent, so that's why I'm sewing two kinds of fabric together. So the red is going to go underneath and the black is going to be the facing outwards. For this is a stripy fabric that on the inside doesn't look very pretty, and the insides are going to show sort of underneath because of this skirt. It's square and stuff, so I'm going to sew this red to the inside. So the red is going to be the inside fabric and this is going to be the outside fabric. I just want it to look as neat as possible. The easiest way to do this obviously is to use a fabric that looks good both on the inside and the outside, which is the case for the middle layer and the top layer, so that's why these are singles. Alright, so I'm going to talk to you about how I measured these now. Alright, so all the skirt pieces, not counting the waist piece, are square, which is kind of fun. That's why I like this skirt. So there are three measurements that you need to use to cut out all the square pieces. The biggest square, the one that goes on the bottom, I have cut 105 centimeters. So each side is 105. 105, 105, 105, okay? So that is counting the hemming process. So the original measurement was like 103 or something, I guess. This doesn't have to be exact. The middle size pieces are 81 times 81 centimeters. So 81, 81, 81, 81. Yeah, you get the picture. And the smallest ones, the top ones, are 56 times 56. So yeah, you get it. So they are all square. See? Completely square. Now for the waist, you obviously need to measure to adapt this to your own measurements. So I measured my top waist and my bottom waist, and I cut out two pieces, well, four because of the red that's going to be on the inside, but yeah, I can just show you the red. The height, I just cut out just a little bit. I don't think I even measured this. It's kind of like 15 centimeters or something, I guess. The only function of this is to be the waist. So the measurement across here is half of my waist plus a couple centimeters for hemming, okay? So just adapt this to your own measurement. You're also going to need a zipper. I'm using a black one, which is 8 inches or 20 centimeters. And, you know, you need the usual stuff like measuring tape, scissors, good old sewing machine, black thread, all that stuff. Obviously, you can do this skirt in just one color. I'm just using like scraps of fabric that I've had at home. That's why it has like, yeah, 4 or 5 different kinds of fabric in there. But I kind of like it. It's kind of a Raggedy Ann doll look. So the first thing we're going to do after having cut all the pieces is sew all the double pieces together. This means the bottom piece for the skirt and the top pieces for the waist, okay? So I'm going to sew this nice stripy black and white on to this red, and I'm going to sew them, pin them with the outsides facing each other, and sew all the way around, all across, and then leave like maybe this much so that we can flip it the correct way, alright? And then we're going to seal this by sewing it just regularly but from the right side instead of the wrong side. I hope you can understand what I'm saying here. Okay, those pieces are done now, and it's time for the middle piece and the top piece, so not the waist piece, but from the 3 layers of skirt, it's time for the middle and the top to get hemmed. So we don't need to do hemming for the bottom or for the waist because we sewed those together, 2 fabrics. If you don't use 2 fabrics, just use one, then you just do hemming for all layers, okay? God, this is confusing. Okay, so this is the middle piece. So I'm gonna try to yeah, make a nice hem for this. So just fold it like that, and then sew all the way around. Do the same thing to the top piece. All my pieces are now hemmed. See, nice close edged edges. So the next step is to sew the waist pieces together, and after that I'm going to iron everything so that it's nice and I don't know, it just looks nice and don't have the folds and creases and stuff. I'm going to lay this aside and sew these together. I should probably iron these before I sew them together because they look like, I don't know right now, but I'm too lazy. So, black is the outside, right? Outsides towards each other. These are still open because they're going to be sewn together. I didn't bother closing them. Excuse me. Alright, so outside to outside. Just sew this end shut. Sew that end shut. And then flip them the correct way. Okay, so now all my pieces are finished, but still singles, and they have been ironed and they're looking pretty good right now. So it's time to start sewing them together. Now, in order to do this, we need to go math. Because what we need to do is cut a circular hole in all the square pieces to which we are going to sew the waist piece. Okay? Now, in order to find out how big the circles are, we need to get put with the equations and stuff. So the equation that you're going to use is to find the radius of the hole, and that is x divided by 6.28 minus 2. Okay, let me explain to you why that is. Let's use an example. If your waist piece excuse me, is 100 centimeters in circumference, so all the way around, the radius is 100 centimeters divided by 6.28 minus 2. So the piece of string needs to be the amount of centimeters that you have from your radius equation, okay? So what you're going to do is, this is the middle, and this is, you know, the thread is here, and you have a pen here. Just going to go round, round, round like that, and thus creating the hole. And then cut the hole out into all 3 square pieces. So first we need to locate the very middle of each piece. The easiest way to do that is to create a cross, like this, and just mark a little bit. I'm using an eyeliner for this. So next up, I have this little guy that I have tied a thread to. I'm gonna attach this to my X right here, and then I need to tie this pen to the thread exactly so that the measurement from the X to where the pen is going to touch the fabric is what I got out of my equation, okay? And for me, that was 12.8 centimeters. And then I'm gonna go round and round, okay? Just like that, and create a circle. And then just cut the circle out as round as you can. Now do the same thing to the 2 other skirt pieces. Now for the second piece, you can obviously use the piece that you cut out from the first one and and just cut around that. Just make sure that you're still using an X, I don't know if you can see this X, but to mark the middle, and that it fits the middle X of this piece. Next up, lay out your 3 skirt fabrics with the outside facing up, starting with the bottom layer. Whoops. And then the middle layer. Try to make the holes match as much as you can. And then the top layer. Alright, it's time to attach the waist piece. The waist piece is going to be like this when it's done. So what we need to do is lay it the inside up, and then pin it all the way around the circle of all 3 layers of skirt. Pin all the way around, and then we're gonna sew it together, and then it's time for the zipper. Okay, so the waist is now pinned, as you can see, all the way around here. Now this is a lot of layers of fabric, you guys. So before we start sewing anything, make sure, like, go through every single pin you put in and make sure that it goes through all the layers of fabric. Because we don't want to end up with something being loose in here, okay? So when it's time to sew, you just flip the waist piece over entirely like this. And then sew all the way around. Alright, so I'm finished sewing, flipping the skirt over, and it now looks like this. See, almost done. If this was stretchy, I'd be able to pull this on and be done right now, but there's one final step, and that is the zipper. Dum dum dum. The zipper is longer than the waist piece, so it's going to go down into the skirt, which is good, okay? We want this. So just gonna sew that on, just like you sew on a zipper, regular, and then try it on.